Good afternoon. It's Wednesday, the 25th of November 2020, and I'm here in the car park just behind the forecourts. I received a phone call this morning to say that Anthony McGann and Kevin Taylor had been arrested by Gardaí. So I came up to Dublin and I arrived in court 3 at around 20 to 12, and Kevin Taylor was already in the court, and the court began then at 10 to 12. Judge Leonie Reynolds came out on the bench at 10 to 12, and counsel for KBC Bank presented evidence in court that retired Garda Kevin Taylor had been at the McGann's home, which was in breach of a High Court order. And then Judge Reynolds spoke to Kevin Taylor, and Kevin, I'll speak a little bit about it in a minute, but Kevin appeared, quite agitated, and he appeared very, very agitated to me, and Judge Reynolds asked him, did he want to apply for free legal aid and to be represented in court by a solicitor, and he didn't actually acknowledge the court. So Judge Reynolds then made an order that he be remanded in custody to Clover Hill Prison until tomorrow. There will be a hearing at 2 o'clock, and I'll come back to that in a minute. So then Anthony McGann was brought before the court, and again, counsel for KBC Bank presented evidence to the court that Anthony was in breach of the High Court order that nobody was to be on the property. And you may recall last month the 3 McGann siblings were arrested and taken before Judge Reynolds, and they gave an undertaking that they wouldn't return to the property. Geraldine and David McGann haven't returned to the property, but Anthony did. So evidence was presented to the court that he was in breach of this undertaking. And again, Anthony was not represented in court by a solicitor, and Judge Reynolds remanded him in custody until 2 o'clock tomorrow. And the hearing tomorrow will be held remotely. And at that stage, then Judge Reynolds will hear whether or not Anthony and Kevin have decided to be legally represented, and also she will set a date for the hearing on the contempt of the High Court orders. So there's no point in saying otherwise. I'm actually very upset by this, because I consider Anthony and Kevin to be friends, and it's upsetting for me to see them being remanded in custody. After the court hearing, out in the round hall outside of court 3, Anthony and Kevin were with a number of guards, and I have to say that, to me, and it is my opinion, the guards were extremely civil. I observed that there, it was very, very cordial, is that the word, and civil between Kevin and Anthony and the Gardaí. I have to say that the Gardaí were very civil to me. One of them stood back and held the door for me, and I was delighted to see that neither Kevin or Anthony were in handcuffs, and they came up to me and chatted to me, and there was nobody tried to stop them. The guards didn't try to stop them from speaking to me. Now, yesterday evening, I actually met Kevin Taylor in Longford, and I had a chat with him. He was aware that there was surveillance of his home, and he knew that he could be arrested at any time. And I met him at the filling station, and we chatted for about a half an hour. And he knew that his arrest was imminent. And I just won't. How will I? I won't breach the trust that we have by saying anything for the moment about what he had to say to me. But in general terms, Kevin is a retired guard. He's had a 30-year service to this state, an unblemished record. And since his retirement, like myself, he has been reaching out to people and trying to help people. Kevin is a very, very quiet, shy man. He's a country man. He never speaks about the good that he does, but several people have told me about how he has helped them out. He has accompanied them to court. He has written letters for them. He has visited the sick. He's just a very, very, very good person. And he was there that morning in Falsk on the 11th of December 2018. And he got injured during the eviction. He was taken by ambulance to A&E in Ballinasloe, and he later had to visit the dentist, and he had a loose tooth extracted. He has nothing really to gain from this, but he has told me that he is doing this because of the principle. He said the principle is that an elderly sick man was evicted, and Kevin just doesn't see this in terms of the McGann family. He sees this in a much broader context, and he really does believe that he is taking a stand against these evictions that are taking place. Kevin and I both grew up in an Ireland where evictions were unheard of. Definitely there would have been cases in the past out the countryside where farmers got into difficulties with the banks and weren't able to repay their loans. And there always seems to have been some kind of an accommodation reached between farmers and the banks. And sometimes that did involve selling either the entire farm or the full farm. But this thing of evictions taking place in the manner in which they have been taking place is something that has only started to happen in recent years. And Kevin feels that he is taking a stand on this issue. He said it's the principle that's involved. And for myself, why have I taken the trouble to drive the whole way up to Dublin today? Well, I suppose it's an act of solidarity with Kevin and indeed with Anthony, because I see Anthony McGann not just as Anthony McGann. I see him as symbolic of all farmers and indeed all people who get into difficulties with the banks. I see the bigger picture, and I feel that as people of Ireland, we need to stand back and to actually see what's happening. We have to kind of have a look and see what kind of future do we want for our children and for our grandchildren. Do we want to create a society where when people get into difficulties with the banks, that the banks then can just use the agents of the state to come in and have people forcefully removed from their homes? Is that the kind of Ireland that we want? KBC Bank has spent an absolute fortune on this particular case with the McGanns, I'm reliably told that each court appearance cost the bank a minimum of 12 to 15,000 euro. And at this stage, there have just been so many court cases that the bill, the legal bill, far outweighs the value of the property. So why is the bank doing this? It's not making financial sense. Is this just an effort? And I'm just putting the question out there, and we still live in a democracy, so we're still able to ask questions. Is this an action on the part of the bank to send out a message to the people of Ireland that no mercy will be spared to anybody who resists eviction, and that this is actually a show of their authority? I've just been speaking to a man who was also present in court this morning as an observer, who is in difficulties with the same bank, with the KBC Bank, and his name is Jerry Beads. I've heard of Jerry Beads. I've never met the man, and I hope to do a live stream with Jerry. He's gone back into court now. He has amassed huge knowledge about what is going on. So at a further date, I hope to do an interview with Jerry. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for taking the number of minutes, whatever number of minutes it has taken to watch this far. It shows that you care. And I think we're at a turning point in Irish history. And I think we need to have a conversation as the people of Ireland around the future that we want to create for our children and for our grandchildren. Fear has us crippled. Now, thankfully, I have overcome my fears. It has been difficult. It has been a difficult journey, but I have overcome my fear of speaking out. There's nothing that these people can really do to us. I think we need to conquer our fear, whatever fear that is holding us back from speaking out about what is happening. I think we have to kind of set that aside, and we have to then, without fear, have a conversation about the kind of Ireland that we want for our children and our grandchildren. I have said on more than one occasion that Strokestown, when history comes to be written, will be written as a turning point in Irish history. And we as a people have the power to determine that outcome. Thank you so much for watching, and please share. Social media is powerful, and it's the only way we have of getting the message out. So thank you so much. And as I said, I will hope to do a live stream at a later date with Jerry Beads on this issue. Thank you so much for watching.